he had his ups and downs. He kept at it, worked on this project, and now he's starring in a movie that everybody's talking about. All right, it's Monday at 11 o'clock. Welcome to the Chazz Palminteri Show. Every Monday at 11, we have exciting guests. We have great actors, singers, dancers, musicians, UFC fighters, professional fighters. We have everybody on the show. I love having a lot of different people on the show. I want to remind you, if you my one-man show is on tour again. And if you want to see where it comes, ChazzPalminteri.net. Go to ChazzPalminteri.net. My whole schedule for 2025 is there. John, where am I in the next few weeks?
So the next few weeks, you really only have 2 more shows coming up. That's on your website. More are coming up later. But as of right now, it says April 11th, 2025, Atlantic City, New Jersey at the Ocean Casino Resort. And April 13th in Ridgefield, Connecticut at the Ridgefield Playhouse.
All right. Very, very excited. In April, you know where I will be at Atlantic City and the Ridgefield Playhouse. Also, if you want to get my wine, the Chazz Palminteri Cabernet wine, which is like doing gangbusters, it's at all the Stu Leonards. Just check it out. Chazz Palminteri Wine Cabernet. And don't forget my restaurants. Okay, if you go to my restaurant and you mention my name, you get free desserts, everybody at the table. Free homemade desserts. Okay, this 30 West 46th Street and 264 Main Street in White Plains. Chazz Palminteri Italian restaurant, one of the finest Italian restaurants around. Okay, we got a great guest today. I know this gentleman for a long, long time. We came up together back in the old days in New York and LA. He's a great actor, really a great actor. He's got a new movie coming out now, and it's The Buzz. That's all I hear about is this movie. It's going to be at Cannes Film Festival. He's just one of those guys, the consummate actor that if you want a great actor in your movie or your TV show, this is the guy to get. He was in the new, the movie, Green Book. He was wonderful in Green Book, which won Best Movie of the Year, I have you know. Best Film of the Year. He's a great actor. My friend, Joe Cortese. How are you, Joe?
Hey, Chazz, I'm good. Thank you for the kind words.
Well, you're very welcome. It's not kind if it's true. That's what I always say. Hey, so Joe, I know we got a lot to talk about. Well, let's just give your movie a shot now. Tell us the name of the film and when it's coming out.
The film is called Here's Yianni. In a nutshell, it's a true story about director Christina Iliopoulos' father, who owned a diner in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And in his diner, as a diner owner who had dementia, but in his dementia, he imagined himself as a late night talk show host a la Johnny Carson. Hence the title, Here's Yianni. So it's playing March 30th at the Asbury Events at the Garden State Film Festival, 12:30 this coming Sunday. And it all originated from a short I did with her 5 years ago. It was a short, and then we developed it into a feature because it was so well received. And we got it done, and the cast is great. It's myself, Julia Ormond, Kevin Pollak, Rosanna Arquette, and the great Eric Roberts.
Wow, what a cast.
Yeah, great cast.
That's a great cast. Wow, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I heard the buzz about it has been so great. It's been so exciting. So, Joe, let's just talk a little bit about you. You are from Paterson, New Jersey. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, what is a kid from Paterson, New Jersey, growing up saying, I want to be an actor? How does this happen?
What am I doing here?
What am I doing here? Exactly. How did this happen?
So I'm living in Paterson, New Jersey. We never moved, but I go to 3 high schools in 4 years. I was a disgruntled youth, you might say. And, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it was like 1967. And I got accepted to a small liberal arts school in Denison, Iowa, of all places. So it was like culture shock. I went from Paterson, New Jersey to Denison, Iowa, where I met, I walked into a drama class, which was one of the prerequisites. And the teacher was a guy named Al Ruscio. Al Ruscio was a well-known LA
Right.
Broadway actor. And, I took the class. And then I took an acting class and I got an A. So I figured I'm going to stick with this.
Right.
And I started doing one play after another. And, I finally found out, when you're that age, you go like, what do you want to be when you grow up, Joey? I didn't know what I wanted to do. But once I started doing this, I had the bug. Then I went to New York. I was like 22 years old and hanging out. I was doing a off-Broadway production of the Clifford Odets play Waiting for Lefty.
Right.
And I was hanging in the clubs at night. It was a little bit before Studio 54, but I was in the Pinta Directoire. And I'm in a club one night, and this guy walks over to me, and he says, "Hey, I like the way you dress." I said, "Thanks." He said, "You want to be, I need a model." I said, "I'm not a model, man. I'm an actor." At the time in New York in the 70s, if you were a serious actor, you didn't do commercials. You didn't. So it turned out that he said, "Listen, I'll pay you $150 a day. Show up at Maxwell Plum's Tuesday and dress like you're dressed." I said, "Okay." I go, I show up, and the photographer says, "Who's that guy back there? Bring him up. Put him in the front." After we shot for the day, she said, "Come back tomorrow and bring some more of the, I love the way you dress. Where'd you get those clothes?" I said, "Well, my father worked in Paterson in the silk mill. So I used to go down with steal the material and I'd have some clothes made, right?" The guy comes up to me after 2 or 3 days. He said, "Look, I need an associate fashion editor at Gentleman's Quarter. I'm going to be hiring somebody. I'd like you to come in for the interview." I said, "Yeah, sure." So that September, I walk in Madison Avenue, Madison and 51st, in one of those birthday cake buildings. And there's all these guys from FIT with, sketch pad. And I end up getting the job. So I was the associate fashion editor for GQ for a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. It's, I kind of used to leave it out of my story because I thought maybe it affected me being a serious actor, right? So, it was a great job. It was a great fun, but I started going out on go-sees,
Yeah.
And eventually they knew what I was doing, so they let me go. And then I started, doing off-Broadway stuff in New York. Then I came to LA, and it was, at the time, there were shows like Kojak and Lots of Luck. And I came out here and I started, you know the deal, man. You did it.
Right. Yeah. You get on the episodics. Yeah.
You get on episodics, I get my SAG card. I start auditioning for the Actors Studio. And, that's how my career started. So I was doing a little work. After a couple of years, I went back to New York. I said, LA is not for me. And I went on an interview for a job called The Death Collector. And in the room was the director, this little guy, and this other little guy. And I auditioned. And in the audition, the guy was pointing on my chest, right? And I grabbed the guy by the throat and I pushed him against the wall. And I said, whatever, street dialogue. And all I heard was, "Excuse me, but why did you do that? That's not written."
Yeah.
It was so bad. So lo and behold, we did this movie, and that's how my career really got started. It was called The Death Collector, directed by Ralph DeVito.
Right. And that's the movie that Robert De Niro saw Joe Pesci.
Right. They saw the movie at the time. What happened was we came to LA, me, Pesci, and the director. And I had met this guy, Ralph Serpi, who was Dino De Laurentiis' right-hand guy. And I walked into the office with 2 film cans and a review from Vincent and said, "Ralph Serpi told me if I ever had anything to come see him." But I looked at me, he said, "Get out of here. What are you, crazy?" And this guy walks out named Dino Conte. Said, "What do you got there, kid?" And I said, "Look, here's our movie, and this is the review." And so they saw the movie, And at the time, this was before Charter from Winkler had it. Dino De Laurentiis had the rights to do the Raging Bull because Pete Savage, who was one of the producers on it, was very good friends with Ralph. And I was like a dead ringer for Pete. So they put me under a contract, and then I met Bob and Marty a couple of times, once or twice with Jake and Rocky and Pete. And after one or two meetings, De Niro got word to me. He said, "Look, we're going to take the best friend and the brother, which was Joey, and make it one character. Do you know how to get a hold of Joe Pesci?" And I said, "Yeah." And I gave him the number.
Oh, wow.
I called Pesci up. He was working at Joe Dente's place on Arthur Avenue.
Right.
I think Amici, right? So I called him up. I said, "De Niro's going to call you. He saw the movie." He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm telling you, he's going to call you." And that's what happened. He got the job.
Wow.
And then they hired Frank Vincent from it. And I went on to do other things. I did, I got a good agent. I did a picture with Talia Shire and Elizabeth Ashley called The Windows that go
Right.
illustrated. And I
What would you
picture.
say? What would you say, Joe, was your first kind of break, kind of pretty good break, you would say, back then? I know life is a bunch of breaks, but what would you
Yeah.
say that was your first kind of, oh, all right, well, this is good.
I think, I was like 27, 28 years old. I got a lead in a movie playing like, they refer to it sometimes as the mean streets of New Jersey. I don't know. Did you ever see the movie?
What is the name of it?
The Death Collector.
Never saw The Debt Collector. Dying to see it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube now. It's one of Quentin Tarantino loves the movie, screens it at his theater every year. So that was a big break. I had two nickels to rub together.
Right.
And I got a 3-picture contract from De Laurentiis. And that's how I started to work, So that was a big break, it was a lead in a picture. And from there, I started to do some films, like I said, I did a movie in Italy with Chris Reeve that was a big picture at the time. It was Chris Reeve, myself, Genevieve Bujold, Jason Miller.
Wow.
Yeah. And they had high hopes for the picture, but, the picture came out and it was not well received.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that happens. We all been there. You think it's going to be great. And then it comes out and it just is not as great as you thought it was going to be, whatever.
Yeah, no, it's look, I don't have to tell you this, better than anybody. You can be tremendously talented. You can be a gifted actor, and you
Yes.
can have a great personality and know everybody in the business. But if you don't have a little luck, it ain't happening.
I agree.
The element of luck is an equation that is put into every career, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm in the actor studio and I remember in the beginning when I started there, I saw these great actors. Oh
Right.
my God. And I could not get over. When I first started there, I said, how the hell is this guy not famous yet? And
Right.
who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, no, listen,
Yeah.
I've been luckier than I'm also a lifetime member of the Actor Studio, and I agree with you. I've seen some fabulous talent there, and
Yeah.
why one guy gets off and the next guy doesn't? It's what's in the cards, man. If it's not in the cards, that ain't gonna happen. But I've been kind of lucky for the most part. I started to work, and then what happened was I had a continuous succession of failed TV pilots. I think I did the lead in about 7 or 8 network TV pilots, and
Right.
good ones. One with Billy Friedkin, a couple for Stephen Kennow.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. And I was making a nice living and doing some TV and doing some independent movies, but I didn't get over the top.
It's that it's that one break that just gets you over the top. I know it's so, people ask me about that and I go, I wish I could tell you what the answer is. I don't
Right.
know. I
It's
just don't
really,
know.
yeah. You know, again, I've been doing this. I've been around a long time. Um, and I had a girlfriend when I first came to LA. She's a beautiful girl, actress named Marilyn Hassett. I didn't know from what an avocado was when I got here.
Right.
Said, we're going to my mother's house for dinner tonight. She's gonna do our charts. I said, what charts? She said, she's gonna do a reading for us. Tarot cards and
Right.
astrological chart. Okay, and this really happened verbatim. She read her first, and she said, Marilyn, you're going to be getting a movie, a studio movie, and it's going to be very successful. And she said, and then she got to me and she said, yeah, she had my chart, my birthday, what time I was born, blah, 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 blah. And she said, Joe, you're going to be a respected actor, but you're not going to get really recognized until you're an older gentleman. And I said to her, what do you mean, like 40? She said, no, Joe,
Oh,
older.
thank you.
Yeah. So ironically, the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, things, I went from working a lot to not working. You know what I mean? I went through
Right.
difficult periods, and like all actors, or like all artists,
Oh,
too.
we all go through that. Yes.
And things have recently, in the last, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years, have turned around, and I'm very pleased and very proud of these last 2 projects I've been involved with. I'm very proud of this movie here, Yianni, because I'm not playing a gangster. It's about a real person. About a very prevalent disease that affects, in one way or another, 1 out of every 4 people.
Yeah.
And it's a true story, and it's really a beautiful story, a beautiful love story. And we went to Torino, Italy in November, and they wouldn't accept us in competition. There's too many big movies. And the opening review of the festival said, the greatest surprise and most beautiful movie to come out of the Torino Film Festival is Here's Johnny. And from there, we started to just do these little festivals, and people are recognizing the movie and really touched by it. So it's a nice feeling.
Well, a lot of people probably can relate to it because they know someone with dementia, or they're close to
Yeah,
someone. I mean, I'm surprised. It'd be nice if the Society for Alzheimer's and Dementia kind of really comes behind you guys.
yeah, we're going to be screening for them in the real near future, to do some kind of benefit.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah, because like I said, it touches. If it doesn't touch you personally, it's either your grandfather, your best friend's
Right.
mother, and I mean, it's running rampant right now. I mean, look at Bruce Willis.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he's a great guy, great, fantastic guy. It's just
Yeah.
heartbreaking, you know?
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. Now, did you do any studying about this? Did you visit dementia people or visit anything, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I had Christina's father and Christina's story. She gave me firsthand information, but I had a good friend of my brother's partner, her husband, an Italian guy named Sonny. He had dementia, and I saw it firsthand. I mean, it is devastating because it affects people in different ways.
Right.
Some people get really angry. My interpretation, and for whatever reason, was my Yanni's a happy guy, because he doesn't know. It's very childlike. And I didn't plan it that way. I did a lot of research, kind
Right.
of wrapped it all up, threw it out the window, and just trusted my instinct in the moment. And it affects people differently, and it's very sad. But in our movie, it's about the strength and the love of the wife and the family around him, and how it affects those people and how they react to it. Certain people, it's a taboo, you know. I mean,
Yes.
Kevin Pollak plays my best friend in the movie, and he's like, he doesn't want to be around me. It's too devastating.
Yeah, it's too scary for them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mother had she had the beginnings of dementia before she died, and I remember that. And she wasn't angry. She was just very she would just say anything at any time. You never knew what she was going to say, you know.
Right.
But I saw it firsthand, and you know, it kind of scared. It broke my heart, but thank God it wasn't that bad, and she passed away. And well, she died in '97, so that's not too bad. You know,
Yeah.
you know. But
Well, the same year my mother died.
your mom was
97.
'97 too.
Oh no, she died in 97. She was 80, 81 maybe.
81. Yeah, no, my mother was 97 years old.
Wow. That's a
Yeah,
great long life.
yeah, yeah. My dad, he was okay. He died at 90. He was
Wow.
fine. So did you ever, Joe? I'm sure you did, because we all did. Did you ever came close to just saying, "Fuck it, that's it. I'm not doing this no more." I
Oh,
would,
not 100 times, but more than a few times. And somebody, you know, it's funny. I've been doing some interviews and publicity, and somebody asked me, "Did you ever think about quitting?" I said, "Well, yeah." And they said, "What happened?" I said, "I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to quit."
wow.
You can't. It's like walking away from a love that's still there. You know what I mean?
I
I mean,
never
it
heard it
was.
put that way. I think that's very poetic and beautiful. You didn't know how to do it.
I
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't know how to quit. I mean, I've quit other things in my life. You know, like I was a good ball player when I was, 15, 16. When I walked away from it because I was, hanging out with the older guys, and. But yeah, I tried to walk away and say, I'm done. I can't take any more disappointment. I can't take any more rejection. I just can't take it. I feel like a fool. It made me feel like a fool. Like,
Right.
what are you doing? Nobody, they don't want you, dude. Don't you get it, man? You're not being accepted. Why do you keep coming to the door with flowers? And I don't know. I just hung in there, man. I love actors. I love this business. You do too. I know you're fucking great. I've seen you on stage. Your one man show is tremendous.
Oh,
Anybody
thank
out
you.
there who hasn't seen this show,
Thank you.
I saw it when it was at Theater West.
Oh, yeah. You saw her
Before you
in the
ever played,
90,
I saw it
90. Yeah.
real early on, and everybody who saw it was blown away.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
not
thanks.
surprised at
Thank you.
all. I was not surprised at all when they came knocking at your door. And I remember you telling me I was sitting outside of Theater West that they offered you, a fat check, but you had to walk away.
Right. Right.
That ain't happening. And that was inspirational to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
I don't know how I
So
did that. Who knows? You know.
yeah, I'll tell you what I think it is. It was a project you loved that you
Yeah.
developed, and you fell in love with it. And when you fall in love with something, it's hard to quit.
It's hard to quit. Yeah. No, you're
Hard to
right.
quit.
It's hard to let it go. It's hard to quit. And,
Yeah, I mean, I
you
quit. What? What was I going to be? A real estate salesman? I went out and got a real estate license just to prove to myself. I
right.
never
Right.
used it. It's sitting in a fucking drawer.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
anyway,
think I could do anything else, to be honest with you. I'm not good at anything else.
right.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
just,
I mean, actors are born,
yeah.
right? I mean, you can't teach somebody, a regular layman, to be an actor. You're either born to do it or not.
Right. Yeah, I tell people if you're doing it just to be famous, don't do it because it's too hard. It's just too
No,
hard. Unless you really, really love this thing with all your heart and soul,
right.
I tell young people, don't do it. Just if you have to do it or you'll die, then do it. If not that, don't do it. Really,
Right. No,
because
I agree with you.
it's too much disappointment. Now you have a beautiful son. My God, your son, tall,
Yeah.
handsome young man. And
Yeah,
how's
he's
he
a good
doing?
boy. He's great. He just got married. We had a wedding in Costa Rica and married a beautiful girl. Hopefully they're going to give me some grandchildren before I move on.
Yeah.
But it was great. And I spent a lot of time, with him as a child. I was a really dedicated father, and
Well, yeah, I know
so
that. I know you, and that's shout out to you for being such a great father.
yeah, I'm
Spending all
proud.
that time with him and working hard with him and making and I saw him and it's a testament to who you are. He's a great kid, you
Yeah,
know.
no, he's a good. But Dante, I think you must have seen it. Nick Vallelonga, who's a good friend of ours, who wrote Green Book,
Yes,
brilliant.
yes,
He said to me, "I'm doing this little short,
right,
and would you come and do it for me?" And of course, I said, whatever you want, Nick."
right.
And Dante was in it, so I
Yes.
got to meet him. He's a handsome, tall, handsome
Oh,
guy.
thank you. Thank you.
I mean, he walked in a room. As soon as he walked in a room, he lit it up.
Yeah. Joe, there's only two things we could leave behind after we pass on. That is art and children. That's it. Just two things.
Never
And
like,
I hope that we leave good art and we have good
uh,
kids. I mean, that's
yeah,
really, really, but it's really a testament to you, Joe. And I say this to the other actors out there who are listening to this. And you don't have to be an actor, you could be anything.
right.
Joe has been, he had his ups and downs, and here he is now. He kept at it, worked on this project, and now he's starring in a movie that everybody's talking about. We'll see what happens. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, it's
you know what? It's a testament to your will and your fortitude and your love of the craft. And that's why uh, I've always admired you, and I've always said, man, Joe Cortese, he keeps going, man. He keeps going. You
thank
know,
you. Yeah, it's a
and
testament.
Joe, before we go, we have to talk about Death of a Salesman with you on stage. Come on, tell us
Yeah,
about
no,
that.
thank you. I just want to say one other thing. It's a testament. Thank you for the kind words. But like yourself, I had a great mother and father, you know,
Yes,
and I missed it terribly. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here. But so after I finished doing Yianni, and we were in post, and I have a Diane Warren song in the movie. I showed the movie to Diane. She loved it.
right.
And she said, "But you got to get me Pat Monahan from Train to sing it." And I have some friends in the music business that was able to do it. So it's a beautiful song. So after I finished all the posts on Yianni, I ran into a director. I think you know him, Mark Blanchard, who had directed me in a couple of plays at True West, and then
Right.
a play I did at the Met Theater called Waiting Waiting for Cody Angelino. And he said to me, you told me a long time ago, the one play you really want to do before it's all over is Death of a Salesman. I said, yeah. And he said, would you like to do it? And I said, yeah. And it was like, I don't know, last July or June. And within 6 weeks, we had the Colony Theater, which is a beautiful equity house, 300-seat theater. And we went into rehearsal and we put up Death of a Salesman with Frances Fisher playing my wife, Linda, and Gary Hudson's in it, and Paul Gannis, a lot of good actors.
Wow.
And it was a great experience. We got great reviews. And then I sort of copied your model. And what we did was we shot 3 live performances. And after I leave here, I'm going to go see it, not a rough cut, a little bit more than a rough cut of it. And, see what we do from there. I have to show it to the Miller estate, of course. But it's a great play.
Oh,
one of the
it's it could. I mean, to me, it's one of the great plays of all time. It is definitely the great American play. That's for sure.
yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, I was very fortunate. I worked with Arthur Miller, and I would try to talk to him as much as I can, and he said that the greatest person who did Death of a Salesman, you wouldn't believe who it was.
I think I know.
What?
I okay. Lee J. Cobb.
That's right, Lee J. Cobb.
I was 8 years old. I just did an interview with George Pinocchio, and he said, "How did you come on?" I said, "I was living in Paterson, New Jersey. I was sitting next to my dad. He was in the armchair, and I was sitting.
Right.
And we're watching on Playhouse 90, Death of a Salesman. I was 8. I didn't know from tomorrow. Right. I was mesmerized.
Yes.
I couldn't move, and it stuck with me.
Right.
All those years.
And I asked him why. I said, why was he the greatest? And he told me why. He said Hoffman was great. All these other, Brian Dennehy, all these other actors were great. And even Philip Seymour Hoffman, he was great.
Yeah.
But he said it works better when the man is a big man, like 6'2", 6'3".
I rest my case.
Right, because the breaking down of this man, he felt that it just worked better. And he loved Lee J. Cobb, and it was very interesting when he said that to me.
Yeah, no, I saw Lee J. Cobb do it then, and then of course I saw it later on. And I've seen Dustin's, and I've seen Brian Dennehy, and I saw Philip Seymour Hoffman. And they're all great, but one of the things the reviewers mentioned in the reviews, I don't know. My interpretation is my interpretation.
Of course,
I found a little bit of humor in Willie.
Right.
Yes. And we were pretty well received. So we'll see what happens. I'd love to get it out there because it's required reading for anybody, any university.
Please. It's one of the great plays. Joe, we're out of time, but I want to just say you've been great. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Cortese, this man is a great actor. His movie, Here's Johnny, is coming out when, Joe? Remind us.
We're this Sunday we'll be at the Garden State Film Festival, and then we'll be at Cannes probably on May 21st.
May 21st.
At the Better World Fund, which is honoring the movie, and will probably be in release in sometime in, I would say, October.
That's fantastic, Joe. Yeah. Joe Cortese, God bless you. You're a real testament to the profession. You're a great actor, and you got great chops, and you got morally, you're a great guy, and I appreciate that very much. And God bless you, and I wish you so much success, Joe, from the bottom of my heart. So much success. God bless you, Joseph.
I appreciate it because I admire you, respect you, and inspired by you.
Well, thank you.
God bless you and your beautiful family and your beautiful wife, kids, and let's break bread soon, man.
Absolutely. Give me a call when you're in New York. We'll break bread, okay? We'll go to my restaurant. On me.
All right,
All right.
pal. Ciao, ciao.
All right.